God, it makes me horny.
Yeah, baby.
To tell you I told you so.
I told you.
I predicted the Canelo Crawford fight like a goddamn fortune teller.
You're the Oracle?
Canelo's feet were cemented on the canvas as he was hitting air. Fuck was that? Props to Crawford.
Thank you.
He came up 3 weight classes and fought a beautiful fight.
Good job.
What a great performance.
Did you get what you was looking for?
Like taking candy from a baby.
My candy!
He just played with Canelo, made him look silly. And before you start with your shit about Canelo being old, just know that Crawford is older.
I'm too old.
That's not an excuse here. Look, I promoted Canelo's entire career,
Put some f***ing respect on it.
and it was a huge flop.
How do you like them apps?
The only real fighters he's faced were Mayweather, Bivol, and Crawford, and they all toyed with him. Even Mayweather knew Crawford was going to school him.
Thank you.
He put $50,000 on Crawford to win. And as far as the undercard, Jesus Christmas, I feel bad for Turkey, wasting all that money. You have to fire your matchmakers, Turkey.
You're fired.
It was the biggest fight of the decade, and your matchmakers, not you, your matchmakers
What are those guys?
put on that undercard? You paid all that money and had the biggest stage in boxing on Netflix, and that is really the best they could do.
But if you were at 168, when we think about anybody at 168 outside of Canelo, the first name that comes to anybody's mind is David Benavidez. What about the potential for a fight like that?
No, like I said, man, that's a big dude. You know what I mean? He ain't even at 168. You know, when you look
Right, not now. It's at 175, yeah.
he probably can't even make 168. No, you know, but me personally, I believe in my skills and my ability. I could be anybody.
Terence Crawford is speaking out after his dominant win against Canelo Alvarez, and now fans are buzzing about a possible fight with David Benavidez. At the same time, Eddie Hearn is calling a showdown between Crawford and Jaron Boots Ennis the biggest matchup in American boxing, but Crawford knows it would take a huge payday to make it happen because he understands how dangerous Boots is. Not that Crawford doubts his own skills, but he admits it would be a real test, and in Hearn's eyes, Boots is like the new version of Crawford, just waiting for the right fights to prove his greatness.
Terence Crawford against Jaron Ennis, for me, is the best fight in American boxing. But it needs to be a payday for Crawford that would get him interested, because Crawford knows how good Boots is. And I'm not saying that Crawford thinks he's going to lose to Boots, but he knows that is a real fight. But for me, Boots is the new Crawford.
Jeff Mayweather explained that David Benavidez is the one fighter nobody really wants to face, and that fear only raises his value in the boxing world. He said if the right financial offer comes in, the fight could easily be made because no promoter can claim they cannot afford it. It all depends on whether Crawford wants to take that challenge. Jeff also pointed out that from Canelo's perspective, the smartest move after his loss would be to push for a rematch, because that is the only way he can restore his reputation and respond to the questions raised by Crawford's dominant victory.
If you were at 168, when we think about anybody at 168 outside of Canelo, the first name that comes to anybody's mind is David Benavidez. What about the potential for a fight like that?
No, like I said, man, that's a big dude. You know what I mean? He ain't even at 168. You know, when you look
Right, not now. It's at 175, yeah.
he probably can't even make 168 no. But when you look at these fights, you know, especially coming up, you gotta be realistic. You gotta, you know, say, all right, you know, how big is this dude really is? Because David Benavidez, he can fight his ass off, you know. But me personally, I believe in my skills and my ability. I could be anybody.
Terence Crawford was asked about the possibility of fighting David Benavidez at 168, and he admitted that Benavidez is a very big fighter who might not even be able to make that weight anymore, since he looks more like a natural 175-pounder. Crawford explained that when considering potential fights, people need to be realistic about the size difference, and Benavidez is definitely a strong and skilled opponent. Still, Crawford made it clear that he believes in his own skills and abilities, and he is confident he can beat anyone placed in front of him.
You heard Bomac that he does not want Crawford to fight David Benavidez. So right now, you know, I believe that we have a tough fight, man. November 22nd. I don't want to get ahead of my fight, and you know, we're super focused 100% on getting to Riyadh and making that fight happen and keep proving ourselves and show the people who David is. Let's see what happens after that. Like I said, you know, I will tell you though that it will be easy because, you know, we'll be fighting. If everything goes well, we'll take a couple of weeks off, and the weight will not be a problem because we will already there, kind of. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's, you know, my job as a manager is to get them the best fights and train them as a trainer. And I mean, we want to make history, brother. So, and if the people want that fight, and people think that that's a good fight, you know, and if Bomac and Terence Crawford want that fight, why not? You know, we're here to please the fans and give them what they want.
Jose Benavidez Sr., the father and trainer of David Benavidez, spoke about the idea of Terence Crawford fighting his son and admitted that Brian Bomac McIntyre, who trains Crawford, does not want that fight to happen. He explained that right now their only focus is on the tough matchup David has on November 22 in Riyadh, and they are not looking past it. He said the plan is to win that fight, take a short break, and then be ready for whatever comes next. Since David's weight will already be under control as a manager and trainer, Jose made it clear that his goal is to secure the biggest fights and help David make history. And if Crawford and his team truly want the fight, they would gladly accept, because at the end of the day, they want to give the fans what they are asking for.
You know, I think David's too big for Terence Crawford. I think Terence Crawford will be like 38 years old, you know? I mean, it will not be the same as Canelo, man. We know David comes in and throws a lot of punches and put the pressure. And no disrespect to Terence Crawford, he's the best pound for pound. He's in the books to do history. He did something that nobody could do. But at the end of the day, we're talking about the Mexican monster, you know? David's young, strong, super big for Terence Crawford. And, you know, even Terence Crawford said that Kowalski's or whatever hit harder than Canelo because the power's not there anymore. With David, it's a different story.
Jose Benavidez Sr. stressed that a fight between his son and Terence Crawford would not be easy for the former undisputed champion, he called David the Mexican Monster, and explained that unlike Canelo Alvarez, David is young, big, and throws a huge volume of punches with non-stop pressure. He acknowledged that Crawford is pound for pound the best and has already made history by achieving what no other fighter has done, but he also said that size and style play a major role. Jose pointed out that Crawford once admitted that Egidijus Kavaliauskas hit harder than Canelo, which showed that Canelo's power is not what it used to be against David. He warned it would be a very different story because Benavidez has the size, the strength, and the relentless pressure that could overwhelm Crawford, especially as Crawford continues to get older.
Out here, Kamaru, Terence Crawford versus the Mexican monster, David Benavidez.
I knew it was coming.
He was the mandatory for Canelo.
Oh
Canelo.
my God. Relax.
What's up? The scariest guy in the division.
He's not in the division.
He said he could still make 168 pounds. The reason why he went out because nobody wants to fight him.
That's a big dude. And to be honest, Terence Crawford's 37 years old.
It's about merit. Could I get to the generational talent, as he said, with Manny Pacquiao? He's an 8-division world champ.
If it ain't no big name, Terence, do what you do, bro.
Emma fighters Henry Cejudo and Kamaru Usman shared their thoughts on the idea of Terence Crawford facing David Benavidez, with Usman calling Benavidez the scariest guy in the division and pointing out that Crawford, now at 37, would be giving up too much size and strength against a naturally bigger, younger, and more aggressive fighter. Cejudo agreed and said the only reason Benavidez has not already fought Canelo is because nobody wants to face him, which proves how dangerous he is. Both of them praised Crawford as a generational talent on the level of Manny Pacquiao, but they admitted the physical difference makes Benavidez a very risky opponent at this stage of Crawford's career.
I don't think it would be any different. Canelo said it himself, he couldn't figure it out. I mean, it was just, like I said, Crawford fought a perfect fight. I think both sides could make some adjustments, but I think that it would be the same result.
Virgil Ortiz gave his take on a possible rematch between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, saying he does not think it would play out any differently. He explained that even Canelo himself admitted he could not figure Crawford out, and from Ortiz's perspective, Crawford fought a perfect fight the first time, while he acknowledged that both fighters could make some adjustments. In a second meeting, he ultimately believes the result would stay the same, with Crawford once again coming out on top.
As much as he was before for Terence, after that virtuoso performance, I would love for him to retire and enjoy his family. I don't think he can do anything else that's going to top this.
Right off into the sunset. And,
yeah, man. Listen, he fought a great fight. No, there's nobody out there that can give him that kind of step up for his legacy. His legacy is cemented. Who's gonna give him that kind of going out like he did last night? You know, in front of 70,000 people, he fought a virtuoso fight.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Abel Sanchez praised Terence Crawford for his masterful performance, saying it was so complete that he would love to see Crawford retire on that a high note and spend time with his family. He explained that nothing Crawford does in the future will top what he accomplished in that fight. Calling it the perfect sunset moment, Sanchez added that Crawford's legacy is already cemented, and there is no one left who can truly elevate it further, especially after delivering such a flawless display in front of 70,000 fans.
To not fight again, you'd be undefeated at 42-0. Would that satisfy you?
If that was the decision that I made, that my team made, for me to walk away, away from the sport, then of course I'll be, content and happy, because that's the decision that I made. I'm not gonna make something, that I'm not comfortable with. I had a great career. I've done some tremendous things in the sport of boxing. I made a lot of history. What can I not be proud of if I walked away from the sport right now? I don't have no regrets, because everything that I did it my way. So if I was to walk away from the sport right now, I wouldn't have no reason to hold my head down.
Terence Crawford said that if he chose to retire undefeated at 42-0, he would be fully satisfied, because it would be a decision made together with his team. He explained that he has already had an incredible career, achieved historic milestones, and made his mark in the sport, so there would be nothing to regret. Crawford added that everything he has accomplished was done on his own terms, and if he walked away, now he would hold his head high, knowing he left boxing with no unfinished business.
I'd like to see him just get some rest, man. Spend some time with his family. Holidays is coming up. Maybe do a little traveling, and then get back in the gym, and then assess where he at after that.
So he wants to fight again?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I think that's good to hear, because some people, Shakur said he doesn't want to see him fight.
Well, that's Shakur. How fighters be like, okay, you accomplish everything, but, he's a damn good fighter. I love working with him. But if he say, let's go 2 or 3 more times, let's go 2 or 3 more times.
Brian Bomac McIntyre, the longtime trainer of Terence Crawford, said he wants Crawford to take some rest, enjoy the holidays with his family, maybe do a little traveling, and then come back to the gym to reassess things. He confirmed that Crawford still wants to fight again, and while some people like Shakur Stevenson believe Crawford has already done everything and does not need to continue, Bomac made it clear he loves working with him and will support whatever decision he makes. If Crawford decides to fight 2 or 3 more times, Bomac said he is all in and ready to prepare him for those challenges.
Terence Crawford dominated that fight so much, and I know it was a little bit nip-tuck at times, but when you look at the art of pugilism and the skill set that came from Terence Crawford and the way he dismantled, dissected, and beat him at his own game towards the end, took Canelo on and beat him at his own game. Terence Crawford it was an easy night's work for him, dare I say, an easy night's work against Canelo Alvarez. And I don't want to rain on this parade, But Canelo is definitely past his best. But I don't think it would have mattered because Crawford was that good. 38 years old. How does he do it? He's on the Cobra juice. Whatever the Cobra's taking, he's like a youth. What he's just done is unbelievable. And I'd actually like to see him retire.
Carl Froch praised Terence Crawford's performance against Canelo Alvarez, saying that even though the fight had some close moments, Crawford's skills and mastery of boxing allowed him to dismantle and outthink. Canelo even beating him at his own game in the later rounds. Froch was amazed that at 38 years old, Crawford is still performing at such a high level, joking that whatever he is taking is keeping him young and sharp, and calling the achievement unbelievable.
What I think Crawford won 9, maybe 10 rounds out of the whole 12 rounds. One judge had it very close. I don't know why. I think Crawford clearly won. Right before the show started. I did the show we do with Boxing Scene, and at the end they told me, you have to say something. I said Crawford by decision, because the reason is because Crawford is hungry to make history, to become a legend. Canelo has already accomplished too much, has already done too much, and he wasn't. I don't see that hunger in him anymore. I don't see that those changes anymore. He fights flat-footed, throws one punch at a time. He's not fast anymore, and that's why I picked Crawford by decision.
Robert Garcia said that Terence Crawford left no doubt in his victory over Canelo Alvarez, explaining that Crawford won at least 9 or 10 of the 12 rounds, while Canelo looked flat-footed, slower, and almost satisfied after everything he had already achieved in his career. He added that even before the fight he predicted a Crawford decision because of the hunger and focus Crawford still carries.
What do you think of Crawford's performance over Canelo?
It was super.
Super.
Because the thing is that when you got both of the guys are good.
Right.
I just think that when you have two guys, the smaller guy is the guy that don't have the punching power, but he has the skills that's necessary.
Crawford.
Yeah.
So you were very impressed with his performance?
Well, yeah. The point of the matter is, I knew if it came down to if somebody got knocked out, I thought Crawford would probably get knocked out.
Yeah.
But I know about boxing.
Evander Holyfield also praised Terence Crawford's performance, pointing out how his technical skills stood out even though he was the smaller man without the same natural punching power as Canelo. Holyfield admitted he originally thought Crawford might be the one more likely to get stopped, but the way he controlled the fight and outclassed Canelo proved. Otherwise, to him, it was a true showcase of mastery, discipline, and boxing. IQ that made Crawford's victory so impressive.
What? Quick reaction to that. What did you make of the performance of Terence Crawford?
He boxed a beautiful performance, a beautiful night. Kind of like I thought it would be. Took a page out of Eric Sunday Law's book and made it work for himself.
Would you like to see Canelo retire after that?
I said what Canelo want to do. Canelo been carrying boxing for the last 15 years. He deserves to do anything he want to do.
Terence Crawford's 37. Devin Haney said he thinks he would like him to retire. Do you agree with that statement?
He can do whatever he wants to do. He's been dominating for a long time too, so he can do whatever he wants to do. I would like to see him retire because it would be hard for anybody to top that, and they definitely put him on the top 5 list, and he'd be able to stay there because he hasn't been beat.
Last question. Is Terence Crawford the greatest of all time?
Absolutely the greatest of all time.
Where does he rank?
I don't know, but he's not the greatest of all time. He's the greatest of all time.
Roy Jones Jr. praised Terence Crawford's victory, calling it a smart, disciplined, and beautiful performance that played out exactly as he expected. He also gave credit to Canelo Alvarez for everything he has contributed to the sport, saying Canelo could retire at any time with his legacy secure and his place among the top 5 in boxing history. While Jones did not go as far as calling Crawford the greatest of all time, he still placed him firmly among the best fighters the sport has ever seen.
Terence Crawford, great performance, man. He's been doing this throughout the course of his career. The stakes were a lot different in this fight, a lot more danger. He had to fight that kind of fight in order to beat Canelo Alvarez tonight, and he did that at 37, but getting ready to be 38 years old. And he proved, like Max said, that he is the GOAT of this generation. Hats off to Canelo for taking the fight. He didn't have to take it. Hats off to Turkey Al-Sheikh for putting it together. Just a great, great night for boxing.
Yeah. How special a fighter is someone like Terence Crawford? There was no signs of a size disadvantage there. How special?
You can see it in spots, but it wasn't significant. And I didn't think it was going to be significant. And people call me crazy, but I've been around Terence. He's strong. He's got a wrestling background, and people don't realize that he's been boiling himself down all these years and still being successful, not having to do that. His condition seemed impeccable, and his strength was there. The power was there enough to get respect from Canelo. So what more can I say?
Andre Ward applauded Terence Crawford, highlighting how extraordinary it was to deliver such a performance at nearly 38 years old. He said Crawford executed the perfect game plan to beat Canelo and called him the greatest fighter of his generation. Ward also gave Canelo credit for having the courage to take on the fight and praised everyone who helped make it happen while the size gap was noticeable. At times, Ward explained that Crawford's conditioning, strength and power cancelled out those disadvantages and ultimately earned Canelo's respect inside the ring.
Yeah, no, it's boxing, isn't it? It's boxing. It's one of them things. God's got a greater plan.
Do you think it actually could still happen, you and Canelo?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I don't think it'll happen pretty soon, though. I think he'll have a bit of time off and we'll see what happens.
Hamza, do you think Crawford will stay at the weight or should stay at the weight?
I reckon he will stay it because he looked good at it. He looked strong at it.
Did he seem hurt in there at all?
Nah, not at all, man. He was eating them punches, bro. I was shocked, but he's a GOAT. He's one of the GOATs.
Hamza, I want to apologize on behalf of Terence Crawford. He just messed up your bag, man.
I know, bro.
He messed up your bag. What's up?
You say that, though. You say that, but listen, God's got a greater plan, innit? God's got a greater plan, and it'd even be an honor to share the ring with him.
Yeah, with Terence Crawford. Where should he go from that? From this, Hamza? He's 38. He can walk away, big bag. Performance of a lifetime.
He can do what he wants, bro. He can do what he wants. He's in a position where he can call the shot.
Hamza praised Terence Crawford as one of the greatest after his victory, highlighting how strong, composed and unshaken he looked. Even while taking punches from Canelo, he suggested that Crawford should stay at that weight since he looked comfortable, but also acknowledged that at 38 years old, Crawford has earned the right to retire if he chooses. Shiraz emphasized that Crawford is now in complete control of his career and can decide exactly how his future unfolds. What do you think about Crawford versus Benavidez? Share your thoughts in the comments below and make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. If you enjoyed this video, also don't forget to check out our other videos on the screen right now for more amazing boxing content.